The Wizards take on the Cavaliers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Washington's -3, totals 209. We went 4-1 in our 5 premium sports picks on BrockPage.com yesterday. It's also going to improve our record to 5-0 with a push in our last 6 extra daily picks on that page. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. We're also 7-0 in our last 7 college basketball tier package picks dating back to last season. And the good news is we have another college basketball tier package pick going off here this evening. We currently have over 830 members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on that website at BrockPage.com. Now, Washington lost 2 out of their last 4 ball games, bottom 3 in the NBA in shooting the 3 ball on the road. As a matter of fact, Washington averages just 103 points a game when traveling, and they're making only 27% of their 3-pointers away from home. They're taking on a Cleveland squad who's on a 4-game winning streak, and they successfully covered the point spread in 8 out of their last 9. The Cavs are in the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage at home, and they're led by Darius Garland, who's scoring over 15 points a game, along with 2 rebounds, 7 assists. Garland's also drilling 44% of his 3-pointers. Meanwhile, Jared Allen's leading the club with 11 rebounds a game. Allen's also scoring nearly 15 points per contest. Cleveland averages more second quarter points at home than any other team in the NBA. Now, injury-wise, Love, Markkanen, and Sexton are out for Cleveland. Bryant, Bertans, and Hachimura, they're out for Washington. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Washington's last 5 ball games got over the line, throwing out the Milwaukee game. Meanwhile, the Cavaliers saw 2 out of their last 4 get over the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward Cleveland +3 over 209. Next game, Nets, Magic, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Brooklyn's -9, totals 211. The Nets are 5-1 straight up in their last 6. Top 3 in the league in shooting the 3 ball on the road. The Nets make nearly 41% of their 3-pointers when traveling. Patty Mills is making over 47% of his 3-pointers, 10 points a game and a couple assists for the veteran. Meanwhile, Kevin Durant scoring 29.5 points a night, along with 8 boards, 5 assists. Brooklyn's in the top 10 in first quarter scoring. They're taking on an Orlando club who is certainly not built for a track meet. The Magic scoring just 96 points a game at home, and they're in the bottom 3 in home offensive rebounding. Now, Orlando's lost 4 of 5 at the Amway Center this year, and they successfully covered the point spread just once during that stretch. Now, injury-wise, Moore and Carter Williams are out for the Magic. And when it comes to the number in this one, 3 out of Orlando's last 5 home games fell under the total. Meanwhile, the Nets are 9-2 to the under for the entire season themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Brooklyn Nets -9, under 211. Next matchup, Raptors, Celtics, 7:30 Eastern start time. Boston's -2, totals 206. The Celtics have lost 4 out of their last 6 ball games. Brown is still out. Langford is questionable. The Celtics are also winless at home this year, and they failed to cover the point spread in all 3 of those home losses. Now, Boston's currently dead last in home defensive field goal percentage. They're also dead last in home defensive rebounding. Boston's giving up 120 points a game at the Garden, and they're letting their opponents make 50% of their field goals against them there. Boston is taking on a Toronto club who's undefeated on the road, and they went 4-0 against the number in those road victories. Toronto allows fewer points per game on the road than any other team in the NBA. The Raptors are allowing just 95 points a game when they travel. Gary Trent Jr. is averaging nearly 3 steals a game defensively, along with 3 rebounds. And when it comes to the scoring, OG Anunoby's averaging over 20 points a night, along with 5 boards and a couple assists. Toronto's in the top 10 in fourth quarter scoring on the road. When it comes to the total in this one, 5 out of Toronto's last 8 ball games got over the number. Meanwhile, 4 out of Boston's last 7 got over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Toronto +2 over 206. Next matchup, Pistons, Rockets, 7:30 East. Houston's -3, totals 210. The Rockets have successfully covered the point spread in 4 out of their last 5 ball games. Top 3 in fewest fourth quarter points allowed at home. Christian Wood's grabbing nearly a dozen rebounds a game, 17.5 points a night, and a couple assists for Wood. Meanwhile, Eric Gordon is scoring over 13.5 points a game off the bench, along with a couple of rebounds. Now, Gordon's also drilling nearly 53% of his three-pointers. They're taking on a Detroit squad who's on a 4-game losing streak, and they also failed to cover in 6 out of their last 9. Now, the Pistons are going to work without Livers and Smith here tonight, and in addition to that, Hayes is also listed as questionable. Detroit's still winless on the road this year, and they're dead last in the NBA in scoring. The Pistons are averaging only 94 points a game, and they're shooting just 27% from beyond the arc. Now, when it comes to the number in this one, Detroit's gone 67% to the under for the entire season. Houston's 3-0 to the under at home, 70% to the under for the whole year themselves. I'm going to lean toward Houston -3, under 210. Next game, Bucks, Knicks, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. New York's -4, totals 217. The Knicks have lost 3 out of their last 5 games. They currently have a losing record at Madison Square Garden. As a matter of fact, New York's in the bottom 5 in defensive rebounding at home. And they're allowing over 116 points a game at MSG. They're taking on a Milwaukee club who ranks in the top 10 in road scoring. The Bucks are also in the top 10 in road three-point shooting. Grayson Allen's making 42% of his three-pointers, 15.5 points a game and 3 rebounds a night for Allen. Meanwhile, Giannis Antetokounmpo is scoring over 27.5 points a game, along with 11 boards, 5 assists. Milwaukee's in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage. Now, injury-wise, Middleton and DiVincenzo are still out indefinitely. Lopez is questionable. Meanwhile, for the Knicks, Noel and Robinson are questionable for them. When it comes to the scoring in this one, the Knicks are 4-1 to the over at Madison Square Garden this season. Milwaukee saw 3 out of their last 6 road games get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Milwaukee +4 over 217. Next matchup, Thunder, Pelicans, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. New Orleans is -4, totals 210. The Pels have failed to cover in their last 4 straight, 1-10 straight up overall for the entire season. The Pels are dead last in defending the 3-ball at home, bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage. As a matter of fact, the Pels are allowing their opponents to make 43% of their three-pointers against them at the Smoothie King Center. Williamson and Holmes are still out. Jones and Ingram are questionable. They're taking on an OKC squad who's on a 2-game winning streak and went 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. OKC's in the top 10 in offensive rebounding. They're led by Darius Bazley, who's grabbing nearly 7 rebounds a night and scores over 11 points a game. And speaking of scoring, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring over 22 points a night, along with 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Meanwhile, defensively, OKC's in the top 10 in the NBA in defensive field goal percentage on the road. Now, total-wise, the Thunder's 5-0 to the under when traveling, 7-2 to the under for the whole year. Meanwhile, the Pelicans are 8-3 to the under for the entire season themselves. I'm going to lean toward OKC +4, under 210. Next ball game, it is going to be Mavs versus the Bulls, 8 o'clock East. Chicago's -3.5, totals 215. And speaking of the total in this one, 4 out of Chicago's last 6 ball games at the United Center fell under the posted number. And as a matter of fact, the Bulls are officially 60% to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, the Mavericks on the other side of things, well, they've seen their fair share of unders themselves. 4-0 to the under when traveling, 10-1 to the under at any location. And when it comes to picking a winner in this one, this game's actually being featured as my extra daily pick on brockpage.com. And if you want to access my extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. So if you want to see whether I'm picking the Mavericks or the Bulls to get the job done in this spot here, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my extra daily pick on brockpage.com. But as far as a free pick goes for this game, right here on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the under 215 in that contest. Next matchup, it is going to be Hornets versus the Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Grizzlies are -4.5, totals 229. Memphis has won 3 out of their last 4 ball games, 70% against the number overall for the season. The Grizzlies are in the top 5 in home scoring, top 5 in home three-point percentage. Ja Morant scoring 26 points a game for Memphis, 5 rebounds, 7 assists for Ja. Meanwhile, Desmond Bane is scoring over 16 points a game and makes over 92% of his free throws. Now, the Grizzlies are currently in the top 5 in fourth quarter scoring at home. They're taking on a Charlotte club who lost their last 5 straight, and they also failed to cover the point spread in 6 out of their last 7. Now, Charlotte allows more points per contest than any other team in basketball. They're also in the bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage. Now, injury-wise, Washington's still out indefinitely for Charlotte. Meanwhile, for Memphis, Brooks and Williams are questionable. Tilly is out. When it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Memphis' last 5 home games got over the line. Meanwhile, Charlotte's 5-1 to the over in their last 6 themselves, 75% to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward Memphis -4.5, over 229. Next contest, Kings, Spurs, 8:30 Eastern start time. San Antonio's -1, totals 222.5. The Spurs have dropped 7 out of their last 9 ball games, dead last in the NBA in free throw percentage. The Spurs are just 1-3 straight up at home this year, and they're making only 32% of their three-pointers. They're taking on a Sacramento team who successfully covered the point spread in 5 out of their last 8. The Kings are also in the top 5 in road scoring, and they're led by Harrison Barnes, who's dropping 22.5 points a night, along with 8 boards and a couple assists. Now, Barnes is also drilling 44% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, De'Aaron Fox, he's getting over 18.5 points a game himself, 4 rebounds, 6 assists for Fox. The Kings lead the NBA in second quarter scoring. When it comes to the injury report, Davis and Halliburton are questionable for the Kings. Collins and Pirtle are out for San Antonio. Now, Bates Diop, he's also questionable for the Spurs. When it comes to the number, San Antonio's 4-0 to the over at the AT&T Center. Sacramento saw 3 out of their last 5 road games get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean towards Sacramento +1, over 222.5. Next matchup, Blazers, Suns, 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Phoenix is -5.5, totals 224. The Suns have covered the point spread in their last 4 straight, 5-0 straight up in their last 5. Phoenix is in the top 10 in scoring, top 3 in offensive field goal percentage. Devin Booker is scoring 23 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for D-Book. Meanwhile, Mikal Bridges is scoring 15 points a game himself, along with 3 rebounds. Bridges is also drilling 40% of his three-pointers. Phoenix is in the top 10 in offensive rebounding at home. They're taking on a Portland squad who allows 116 points per contest on the road. The Blazers are also letting their opponents make 51% of their field goals on the road, as well as letting them make over 43% of their three-pointers against them when they travel as well. And for those who don't already know, the Blazers are winless on the road this season, and they also failed to cover the number in all 5 of those road losses. Now, injury-wise, Lillard is questionable for the Blazers. Meanwhile, on the other side, Shamet is questionable for Phoenix. DeAndre Ayton's out. Now, total-wise, Phoenix is 4-2 to the under on their home court, 67% to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, the Blazers saw 7 out of their last 9 fall under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Phoenix minus 5.5, under 224. Next contest, Pacers, Nuggets, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Indiana's minus 3, totals 205.5. The Pacers have won 3 out of their last 4 ball games, 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. The Pacers are in the top 5 in offensive field goal percentage, and they're led by Malcolm Brogdon, who's scoring over 22 points a game, along with 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Meanwhile, Domantas Sabonis is scoring over 19 points a game himself, 10 boards, 3 assists for Boney. The Pacers are in the top 3 in first quarter scoring. Now they're taking on a Denver Nuggets club who unfortunately is going to have to go to work without Nikola Jokic, who's on suspension right now. He retaliated. I think it was justified. He should have retaliated against the one of the Morris brothers there. Guy hit him with a dirty shot, and Nikola hit him in the back. What are you going to do? I think Jokic is justified there. But anyway, regardless, he's sitting out tonight. The Nuggets also still have Porter and Murray listed as out indefinitely as well. Denver's really struggled offensively this season despite their record. They're averaging just 100 points a night at home, and they're making only 27% of their three-pointers. Now, the Nuggets have also failed to cover the point spread in 3 out of their last 4. When it comes to the number in this one, Denver is 4-1 to the under at the Ball Arena, 80% to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, the Pacers saw 7 out of their last 9 fall under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Indiana minus 3, under 205.5. Next contest, T-Wolves, Warriors, 10 o'clock Eastern start time. Golden State's minus 7.5, totals 222. Golden State's on a 5-game winning streak, 5-0 against the spread in those victories. The Warriors are leading the NBA in scoring, and they're also leading the NBA in three-point percentage. Steph Curry scoring over 27.5 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists for Steph. Meanwhile, Jordan Poole scoring 18 points a game himself, along with a couple of rebounds and 3.5 assists. The Warriors are drilling nearly 40% of their three-pointers at home. They're taking on a Minnesota club who lost their last 5 straight, and they also failed to cover in 7 out of their last 8. Minnesota's dead last in the association in defensive rebounding per game. Meanwhile, offensively, the T-Wolves are shooting just 41% from the field. Now, total-wise, Minnesota's 7-2 to the under for the season. Golden State's 70% to the under for the whole year themselves. Give me Golden State minus 7.5, under 222. Next and final matchup, Heat, Lakers, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Miami's minus 4.5, totals 214. The Heat lost 2 out of their last 3. Morris and Oladipo are still out. Tucker, Adebayo, Hero, Strus, and Martin, they're all questionable. The Heat's in the bottom 3 in second quarter points allowed on the road. They're also taking on a Lakers club who won 4 out of their last 6, and they rank in the top 5 in scoring. Anthony Davis is scoring over 23.5 points a game, 11 boards, couple assists for AD. Meanwhile, Russell Westbrook scoring over 18.5 points a game himself, 8 rebounds, 8.5 assists for Russ. The Lakers are in the top 10 in offensive three-point percentage. Now, injury-wise, LeBron and Ariza are still out. Horton, Tucker, and Nunn, they're still out indefinitely as well. Meanwhile, Rondo and Reeves are listed as questionable for tonight's action. And when it comes to the total in this one, 5 out of LA's last 9 got over the line. Meanwhile, Miami went 4-1 to the over in their last 5 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Lakers plus 4.5, over 214. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are 5-0 with a push in our last 6 extra daily picks on that website. I like Cleveland plus 3, over 209. Brooklyn minus 9, under 211. Toronto plus 2, over 206. Houston minus 3, under 210. Milwaukee plus 4, over 217. OKC plus 4, under 210. I also like the under 215 in the Dallas-Chicago game. Give me Memphis minus 4.5 over 229. I like Sacramento +1 over 222.5. Give me Phoenix minus 5.5 under 224. I like Indiana -3 under 205 and a hook. Give me Golden State minus 7.5 under 222. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that not only are we 5-0 with a push in our last 6 extra daily picks on BrockPage.com, we're also 7-0 in our last 7 college basketball tier package picks on that very same website. I like the Lakers +4.5 over 214. With that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that's going to go to Whoop That Trick, who said the other day, I just subscribed. I love your setup in the back and cadence. And of course, Whoop That Trick. That's from Hustle and Flow. The movie from, I guess that was what, the mid-90s. Hustle and Flow. And it wasn't Naturi Naughton in it. It was the other girl. Oh, man, I forget her name. But anyway, great flick, great movie. One of my faves. I'm drawing a blank here. They had a couple really big actors and actresses in that one. And I just am drawing a blank right now. But anyway, Hustle and Flow, great movie. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on BrockPage.com. Now, Terrence Howard, right? Terrence Howard? I think so. He was DJ. And, right? And Ludacris was in there too. Skinny Black, was it? Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Taraji P. Henson. That's her name. Taraji P. Henson. All right, now I gotta focus. Guys, that's gonna do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on BrockPage.com. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on that website, just keep in mind, you're gonna get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today, you are gonna get access to that content all the way through the end of November. You're going to get access to those picks that you pay for all the way through the end of November. I do always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But hey, sometimes better late than never. You know, you got that too. But anyway, guys, most importantly, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at BrockPage.com.